Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Hello X-Bros. I have been stalked by a mysterious entity since 2020, apparently with no harmful intent other than the stalking. How screwed am I? Help please. To keep things short, an intangible, ghostly, and seemingly intelligent being has become a constant in my life. Given its very nature, it is impossible to exactly describe it in detail. All I can do is to describe how I perceive its existence and how it interacts with our world. I have never actually seen it, for it cannot be seen directly, but it affects the space it occupies in various ways. It can be noticed as a blurred shape in peripheral vision, usually like the absence of something. To give an example, if I encounter it in a dusty room, with light falling in, I can see the small particles of dust dancing in the slightly moving air all around me, except in that one place, in the corner of my eye, on the edge of vision, where there is no movement and the dust gently settles on something the size of a dog. As soon as I look directly at it, it's gone. Same happens if it appears in rainy or misty weather or during snowfall. It creates a space in its shape that is void of everything else to exist in. As for its shape, after accepting that I am not going crazy and noticing it more than 100 times without it harming me, I finally managed to take a glimpse at its space by forcing myself to keep it in my peripheral vision for as long as possible. It seems to resemble a malformed dog, likely a quadruped body, with an elongated face, jaws that can open, a long tail usually cat-like wrapped around it. Its surface seems jagged and irregular, dust settles on it like on a piece of sharp rock. Attempts at throwing flour, water, and paint at it have proven unsuccessful as it disappeared every time. I notice it a few times every month, sometimes weeks pass without me seeing it at all, and then suddenly it sits in some corner. I am almost sure that it is always near and I don't see it, because there is nothing around to interact with its space in a visible manner. Most of the time it just sits there and watches me. When I move while keeping it in my peripheral vision, I can see its head turn. Sometimes its tail flicks like in an agitated cat. It usually keeps its distance of 10 feet to 20 feet, moving closer or farther results in disappearing. On rare occasions I have seen it walk. It moves on all fours without making a sound or leaving traces. It can pass behind small objects like trees or poles only to never reappear on the other side. Sometimes all I perceive is a trail of misaligned dust where its tail just disappeared behind some pillar. It seems intelligent. It cannot be caught on photo or video. It vanishes right before the moment you press the shutter button. If there is any kind of video equipment running, be it a camcorder, a smartphone, or CCTV devices, it will either keep out of the field of view or not show up at all. Thrown items will seemingly pass through it. If they happen to land where it occupies space, it will disappear. Others cannot see it, because it stays out of their field of vision completely and disappears, just before they turn in its general direction. It can move small and light objects, like cobwebs, but rarely does. Once I have seen it moving a small ball cat toy with its head, seemingly inspecting the toy. It does not react to spoken words, written language, music, videos, ASL, or any kind of communication attempt. I have the feeling that animals can sense its presence, especially horses, cats, and dogs. My cat can certainly see it too and reacts to its presence by staring at it. It does not disappear when an animal looks at it, but when the animal moves closer, it's gone in an instant. At this point, I think about giving it a name.
In your sleep, alcohol, cocaine, or some opiate, something to lower your vibration. Right now it may just be circling you to catch you at a weak moment. I interacted with that one in a dream, terrifying voice and the wings we kept unspread, but 100% was him. He was scary and energetic but didn't seem hostile toward me at the time.
Hello, X. I saw it again. Just a few hours after my opening post, I went to the gas station and afterwards picked up some food from my local Chinese snack bar. Empty street and gentle rain when I got back to my car. And there it was, sitting upright on the curb next to a streetlight. Again only in the corner of my eye, but highly visible, for the raindrops interacting with its occupied space glistened in the light. I whispered "Glacia labolas" under my breath, hoping for some kind of reaction, likely butchered the pronunciation. This time, but to no result. I tried looking at it directly, and just like every time I tried that before, it vanished before my eyes even focused on its space.
Please tell me in detail the behavior of your cat, how he moves its tail, ears very important, back, shape of pupils. Dilated or thin? Does it stand up or sit down when looking at ghosts? If you touch your cat, scratch behind the ear. While it is looking at the dog, does it react to your touch or keep his neck stiff? Does the cat look away in general?
This entity does not seem malicious, cautious, but not malicious. The impression I get from interactions thus far is that it is guarding you. It may be aware that more dangerous things are watching you. The placement and movement imply that it does not wish to interfere with your life, but still letting others know you have someone watching over you.
Other than inspecting the cat toy, I have seen no sign of curiosity. It just stares at me. She stares at it. Motionless. Ears flattened. Tail twitching. Seems stressed out by its presence. Horses and dogs are more curious about it. My parents' dog approached its space carefully, leading to it disappearing. But why not approach me? It clearly makes its presence known to me. And the more important part, what is after me if I have a guardian?
It may be a case of, pay me no heed, I am here to do a job. What may be after you could be a random selection, something made to try getting energy. Things have tried draining me of life before, mostly if they are starving, but they stop when told to, and often I will try to create a positive interaction, afterwards they leave after they feel loved. Have you felt any threatening or violent presences, moments that unexpectedly for no seemingly clear reason made you feel you were in danger? If something that feels malevolent is trying to latch on, tell it is unwelcome. Op pic. About a year ago I had a strange dream where I saw a dog like that, but it was more like a werewolf since it walked biped. It just popped into my dream, and had a companion who gave off the most evil vibe. He looked like a shadow outline like a golem with bright large yellow orbs for eyes and carried a wicked grin. In the dream it was pulling the green-black slim off its body and eating it. It looked like a Dark Souls enemy with its decayed hollowed body. Then I woke up and went back to sleep. Now the interesting thing is, the dream after that. Me and it became merged. And it went on a rampage in a Victorian manner. Killing and eating everyone in it. I could feel all the pleasure of this thing, and I was lucid. And I was astonished just how crazed and sadistic this thing was, and also because I felt everything it thought and felt. Because it would toy with its prey, like an intelligent cat. After the massacre I woke up. Never had it again. But I did have another dream about a dogman that happened a few nights ago, but I think it was an astral parasite pretending to be one. Since it was trying to make me fear it, to steal my lush. These encounters could have very well been a form of shared interaction to harvest energy. Passion, fear, aggression, any and every powerful feeling that could be evoked. There are those who feed on energy in a more respectful way, even creating greater net energy together. If something were to try to hurt you or drain you dry, let them know they are not welcome.
Shared interaction to harvest energy. Sometimes I wonder about that too, but it's very interesting in the way they did it. Actually, I have been fighting back via draining them too, in the last months when I learned I could eat them too. The worst type of attack I get is when they try to steer my dreams, of course. I notice that they will slowly interject themselves into a dream until they get enough control where they can harm me. This probably happens every week. But it's not the only way they try to prey on me though. 2 nights ago I saw a glimmer in a dream and my dream switched arcs, and a defensive instinct took over me, and I decided to bite it, then whatever it was growled and screeched like a demonic pig and bit me back. Then I started to suck its energy and I woke up in an instant. I could feel a great weight and pain where it bit me for an hour afterwards. But I drained more energy from it than it did from me. Since I got an insane high from it. I wonder why I'm so targeted by entities, and they really do not want me to astral project. Since when I get out of my body they will appear and start to drag me off my bed so I wake up. The last time I had an out-of-box experience I even got into fist to cuffs with one. Sorry for blogging, but I find it really interesting.
All good, and it is good you are becoming more familiar with your abilities. They do try to be sneaky. Some tried feeding on my energy in negative scenarios in my dreams, then I decided to confront them. I gave them a chance to leave of their own accord, but they stayed. On night 2, it was on. After that fight was done, I never saw them again. Increase your power as able to confront them if they seek to harm you, and while all forms of energy can be fed on, remember that love is the most nourishing. I have fed on fear in a pinch, it is addictive, but not nearly as filling as love. If you are experiencing interruptions like this during your projection attempts, there may need to be things in your environment which need addressing.
I wrote earlier that I am going to give it a name. I see no harm in calling it Glitchy, as it is non-offensive and is an accurate description of what I see. Like a glitched out character model in a video game that isn't loaded all the way. I thought I was going crazy for the longest time until my cat reacted to its presence. I consider the moving cat toy and my parents' dog approaching it strong evidence that there is indeed something occupying that space. Hello, X, it's me again. I saw Glitchy again. This time it was a lot closer and for the first time not on the ground. It sat on the roof of my garage, visible as a dry space in the mist like rain, nearly motionless. The moment I noticed it and froze to keep it in my peripheral vision, it flicked its tail, almost as if to acknowledge me seeing it. I slowly turned, staring ahead of me, and tilted my head upwards, and as every time before it disappeared before I was able to look at it directly. Looking for a picture to attach to this thread, I came across pic related. It is listed on the Harry Potter fandom wiki as a Gytrash. The shape is very close to what I see, especially with the ridges on its back. However, it probably isn't a Gytrash, as it does not look like a big black dog trying to lead me astray like in the legends. I am willing, for as long as this entity does not seem to be malevolent, to experiment in order to better understand what I am dealing with. I am now carrying a compass with me so that I can look for magnetic deviations next time I encounter it. Will report my findings.
How many times have you seen it so far? If it's a hellhound and you've only seen it twice, you might be cursed.
I see it quite often. Sometimes a week passes without me perceiving it. Sometimes I see it twice in a single day. I am almost certain that it's always there, watching me, and I can't perceive it, because there is no dust, no rain, no smoke to reveal it.
Sorry in advance, I don't make the rules, I just work here. The eyes, the hounds of Tindalos, the best description of their behavior that isn't steeped in esoteric nonsense, the consciousness attached to my soul are the shadows and figures you use in the dark. I have no control over them in the slightest. They are my past lives that act in accordance with our collected subconscious to steer humanity in a certain direction. Myself, me, I, have no grander goals than to eat good food and procreate. I don't wish to screw with you. But if you have deep-seated evils that the others can sense, your only recourse is to fix your mistakes and come to terms with your own spirit. They are the ultimate lie detectors in a broad sense, as no one can hide what lies at the core of their being.
I'm trying to vibe this one out. It's a strange one, doesn't feel demonic, doesn't feel like a spirit exactly, it feels tangible but doesn't play by the same rulebook that we do. Its intentions are masked consciously. It honestly feels like it is keeping an eye on you for whatever reason, but it doesn't feel like it's protecting you. Feels like pure and cold observation.
Firstly, obviously take everything me and others say with a heavy grain of salt. Be careful with this one. My guide just told me these kinds of entities will actually kill if they are spotted directly. It doesn't feel like it is feeding off of you or anything like that. It feels incredibly cynical and cold, honestly, almost like it's a form of AI just carrying out its mission and has no personal attachment. Maybe an intelligence agent?
I don't know about any mistakes that should result in being haunted by a ghost pupper. See my former thread, it's impossible. It is intelligent and reacts to cameras of any kind by disappearing. I tried a lot of tricks, hidden cams, mirrors, being fast, CCTV, capturing a shadow. Pure and cold observation. This my best guess too, since it does not want communication, probably is always somewhere around and has not harmed me yet. I try not to piss it off, but I am willing to at least experiment a bit in order to better understand Glitchy. Hello X. Glitchy is back. I just saw Glitchy again. Twice in a single day. At work it sat next to the exhaust of a defective truck. I could clearly see the exhaust gases and smoke part around its shape. And then a second time at home. I repaired a part of my porch and clearly saw it standing in the workshop after using my belt sander. I took out the compass and tried to check magnetic deviations, but nothing out of the ordinary. Also, I tried a small keychain laser pointer and pointed it directly at the space it existed in. The effect was like shining a laser into a mirror cabinet filled with glass shards. The light fractured and sparkled and revealed its shape for a brief moment, before it disappeared in an instant. I was right about the shape. 4 legs, a long slim tail, 2 ears or horns on its head, an open jaw with teeth like appendages between its jaws. Its surface is jagged like a shattered mirror. It is slender and built similar to a whippet with long legs and a slim body. I think it can change its size, because this time it seemed much bigger. Almost pony-sized. It did not attempt to hurt me in any way so far. It just keeps appearing near me. So I will continue experimenting with this entity. Next time I will try a strong flashlight instead of a laser and maybe an ultraviolet light.
And he was never heard from again.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more green texts will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.
Remember to check out the Odyssey page in the description for a second archive of the channel's videos.